This is the second in the series of 5 videos on the microscopic features of the eye. I'm grateful to Dr. Michael Hosch of University of Michigan Medical School for providing the images of histology sections. Here, we will look into the features of the outer coat of the eye, which includes sclera and cornea. Cornea is the avascular transparent structure forming the anterior part of the outer fibrous coat. We can see the cornea under low power magnification on the right here. It is thinnest at its center with a thickness of about 0.5 millimeters, and the thickness gradually increases to about 1 millimeters at the periphery. Cornea shows 5 layers which are easily remembered by the mnemonic of first 5 English alphabets. The outermost layer is the anterior epithelium made of stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. It shows about 5 to 6 layers of cells. Basal cells are the low columnar cells with round or oval nuclei, followed by 2 to 3 layers of polyhedral cells, and superficial cells are the squamous cells with flattened nuclei. Microvilli and microplicae are found on the surface epithelial cells, which help in retaining a thin film of tear to keep the corneal surface moist. Peripherally at the limbus, this anterior epithelium continues with conjunctiva, and at this region we will also find a few stem cells. Free nerve endings are found in this layer, and that's what makes this layer sensitive to fine touch, and it also forms the basis for corneal reflex. Second layer is the Bowman's membrane. It is the anterior basement membrane and it appears amorphous. As this layer is incapable of regeneration, injury to it will always result in scar formation. Deep to Bowman's membrane is the corneal stroma or substantia propria. It shows about 200 to 250 lamellae, which are made of thin collagen fibrils. And these collagen fibrils have a regular parallel arrangement within each lamella. But between adjacent lamellae, they have an orthogonal array, that is, they are arranged at right angles to each other. Lamellae also consist of ground substance made of keratin sulfate and chondroitin sulfate, and between adjacent lamellae we find sheets of flattened fibroblasts. Small size of the collagen fibrils and their regular parallel arrangement contribute to the transparency of cornea. Fourth layer is the Descemet's membrane. It's the posterior basal lamina of the corneal endothelium. It's a homogeneous layer, and unlike Bowman's membrane, this layer can regenerate. At the periphery of cornea, it continues as pectinate ligaments into sclera, and few of these pectinate ligaments also connect with ciliary muscle, which may help in maintaining the corneal curvature. The innermost layer is the corneal endothelium, made of simple squamous cells, which allow for metabolic exchange between cornea and aqueous humor. A sixth layer of pre-Descemet's Duas layer has been identified recently, and it's a fibrous layer which is stronger than Descemet's membrane, located between stroma and Descemet's membrane. Sclera is the outer opaque white area of the eye, which is made of dense connective tissue. It is pierced by optic nerve posteriorly, anterior ciliary arteries anteriorly, vortex veins at the equator, and long and short ciliary arteries and nerves posteriorly around the optic nerve. It maintains the shape of the eyeball and provides attachment for extraocular muscles. Sclera is covered by fascia bulbi or Tinon's capsule around the circumference, and anteriorly it is covered by bulbar conjunctiva. Sclera is made of 3 layers. The outermost vascular loose connective tissue layer is called as episcleral layer. Bulk of the sclera is made of substantia propria or sclera proper, which is made up of dense irregular connective tissue with thick collagen fibers. Branching and interlacing of these collagen fibers between the lamellae not only results in scattering of light, making this layer opaque, but also helps in providing tensile strength so that the layer can withstand the pull of the extraocular muscles. The innermost layer is the suprachoroid lamina or the lamina fusca. It's made of delicate fibrous layer with thin collagen and elastin fibers along with few fibroblasts and melanocytes. This layer also contains this long and short ciliary nerves and arteries and also epichoroid lymph spaces. Where the sclera is pierced by the optic nerve posteriorly, that site of attachment of optic nerve is seen as optic disc or papilla or the blind spot on the retinal surface. At the optic disc, the outer half of the sclera continues with the outer covering of the optic nerve, that is dural layer, but inner half of the sclera forms the lamina cribrosa, which is the weakest part of sclera, allowing for the passage of for the optic nerve fascicles as well as central retinal vessels. Junction between cornea and sclera, also called as limbus, shows certain interesting transition features. Firstly, the 5 to 6 layered anterior epithelium changes to 12 layered conjunctiva. Bowman's membrane ends abruptly here. Corneal stroma, which shows regular arrangement of collagen fibrils, will change to irregularly arranged stroma of the sclera. Avascular cornea transforms into vascular sclera. Descemet's membrane forms pectinate ligaments, and the endothelium will go on to line the trabecular meshwork. Posterior aspect of this corneoscleral junction shows this iridocorneal filtration angle. And in this iridocorneal filtration angle, we see the endothelium lined spaces, or called as spaces of Fontana or trabecular meshwork, and canal of Schlemm. Aqueous humor, which is secreted by the ciliary epithelium, is transported from posterior chamber to the anterior chamber via pupil, and it is drained into canal of Schlemm through the trabecular meshwork. And this canal of Schlemm drains the aqueous humor to intrascleral vessels and then into episcleral veins. Any obstruction to the drainage of this aqueous into the canal of Schlemm causes increased intraocular pressure, which will in turn result in glaucoma. So quickly revising what we have seen so far. Outer fibrous coat of the eye consists of posterior opaque white sclera and anterior transparent cornea. Cornea shows 5 layers: anterior epithelium, Bowman's membrane, corneal stroma, Descemet's membrane, and endothelium. Sclera shows episcleral layer, substantia propria, and suprachoroid lamina. Corneoscleral junction shows transition of corneal layers into sclera or conjunctiva, and the posterior iridocorneal angle shows trabecular meshwork draining aqueous humor into canal of Schlemm. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed this video. You can now move on to part 3 of this series.